Apollo 13 would be anything but routine. James Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes lifted off in April of 1970. Little did they know that their spacecraft was a ticking time bomb. 200,000 miles from Earth, it exploded.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Yes, sir. Houston, we've had a problem.
Here is a bulletin from ABC News. The Apollo 13 spacecraft has had a serious power supply malfunction.
Right about then, it was quite apparent to me that it was just a question of time that the command module was going to be dead.
The life-giving oxygen tanks in the command module were empty. Only one of its 3 fuel cells was still generating electricity.
It dawned on me, and I'm sure Jack and Fred about the same time, that we were indeed in serious trouble. The only way to survive the situation was to transfer to the LEM.
The astronauts fled to the lunar landing module. This lifeboat provided oxygen and power to keep them alive. There would be no landing on the moon. The goal now was simply to survive. The experts at Mission Control were trying to stay cool and save the astronauts. As they planned each step, they were weaving their way through a minefield. A wrong guess could be fatal.
Okay, well, let's make sure we don't blow the whole mission.
The LEM's rocket motor made a critical burn around the back side of the moon to bring them home to Earth. Inside the cold, dark LEM, the 3 men carefully conserved their dwindling supplies. And they made it with only 12 hours of fuel and oxygen to spare. As they prepared for re-entry, they finally saw the result of the oxygen tank explosion that had torn their service module apart.
And there's one whole side of that spacecraft missing.
Is that right?
The whole panel is blown out, almost from the base to the engine. It's really a mess. Man, that's unbelievable.
Apollo, the recovery, over. Well, the one place at this time, the free chutes are displaced in the water.
An entire world held its breath while the astronauts fought to survive. Now people everywhere rejoiced.
The command module is stable 1 at this time. They're riding comfortably.
The men of Apollo 13, by their poise and skill under the most intense kind of pressure, epitomize the character that accepts danger and surmounts it. Theirs is the spirit that built America.
9 months later, the problems that caused the near disaster on Apollo 13 had been solved. Alan Shepard, America's first man in space, would now get a chance to walk on the moon. Apollo 14 lifted off at the end of January 1971 with Shepard, Ed Mitchell, and Stuart Roosa. Theirs would be the most ambitious mission yet, to explore the rugged lunar highlands of Fra Mauro.
This is really a wild place up here.
There's Houston, you're go for landing.
Their major objective was Cone Crater, a hole blasted in the moon's surface eons ago. It might shed new light on the history of the moon, the Earth, and the solar system. Alan Shepard stepped onto the moon.
Hammer's on the surface, and it's been a long way, but we're here.
A few minutes later, he was joined by Ed Mitchell.
This one is a long one.
Shepard and Mitchell planted the flag in the lunar soil. Now they began to set up an automatic scientific laboratory.
What do you think's a good spot for the outset? Oh boy, it's going to be tough, Al. I just head out toward Dublin out there and let's look.
Then they began their assault on Cone Crater, a climb towards the summit of a lunar mountain, and also back through time.
About
top a ridge thinking it's the rim of the crater, and there's another ridge ahead of you.
I don't think we'll have time to go up there. Oh, let's give it a whirl. Gee whiz, we can't stop without looking in the Cone Crater.
Okay, and so right now we have a 30-minute extension.
Okay, we better reconnoiter here. I don't see the crater yet. Okay.
Standing in a boulder field, the frustrated astronauts made their most difficult decision. With the agreement of Mission Control, they stopped their climb less than 150 feet from the edge of Cone Crater to begin the more important job of collecting samples.
The crew had no way of realizing they were so close. It was a week after the mission before we determined this by photographic analysis.
It was a bitter disappointment, but the mission itself was a stunning scientific success. The rocks the astronauts gathered near Cone Crater proved to be some of the oldest ever found on the moon, more than 4.5 billion years old. Now Alan Shepard added another first to his name, becoming the only golfer to tee off on the moon.
Unfortunately, the suit is so stiff I can't do this with two hands, but I'm going to try a little sand trap shot here. There we go. Miles and miles and miles. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have ignition. What a liftoff. And liftoff.
Roger, ignition.
And around we go. Show us a little style. Oh, you look good.
As the astronauts of Apollo 14 made their way home, an exciting new machine was waiting in the wings. Future astronauts would ride in style across the lunar surface,